niggas corny with that Illuminati mess.
The ancient bloodlines is back, and my ancestry says Benin. And you niggas screaming Illuminati is whack. Y'all niggas never talk about how Haiti used African spirituality to beat Napoleon's white ass. Any nigga screaming somebody Illuminati is an agent in the mind. They're disconnected from the spiritual power, the real power that runs this entire shit. If they ain't showing you how to beat Illuminati, it's cause they Illuminati bitch. Tupac said it. Illuminati killed the Illuminati. Pac shot 2 out-of-duty police officers and the charges was dropped. That ain't Illuminati. That ain't white supremacy. That's the power of God, the glory of God to awaken you, you stupid motherfuckers.
What's happening?
Man, another day in America. America's all good, from what I understand.
Yeah, man. America the Great.
Yeah. I heard. And what was you saying, man? Is something Donald Trump about to have a sit down?
Oh yeah, man. Man, they reported today that Donald Trump is facilitating a meeting with Colin Kaepernick, Kanye West. I think I saw Jim Brown.
Yeah.
And it was another highly notable person that was going to be involved inside of this race summit that Trump is putting together. And they said they want both sides to be able to come together to really sweat it out and have a real, authentic dialogue about some of the racial injustices, the condition of this country as it pertains to race and inequalities. And they just want to lay it out on the table.
Yeah.
And share from each side of the fence's perspective on why things are the way that they are today is what I took from what I read. So it looks like it's going to be some type of discussion in the very near future where quite possibly it can be some redress from this summit and we see something come from it.
So you're telling me that Kanye West and what appears to be his crazy antics, sellout stuff that he's been doing was the tipping point to get Donald Trump to come out and make at least a verbal statement that, you know what, we need to have a dialogue about race now.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Interesting. So which means at this particular point, I would say anyone who has hurt by Kanye West. Hold on. You told me something else that's interesting too. You said that the overall consensus of Trump from black men has actually went up since Kanye West started this thing.
It's doubled.
Did you say that?
Yeah. One report has showed that the support from African American males in this country, if I'm not mistaken, the number that I read, it went from 11% to roughly 22% in this short week as this commentary has been developing and has spread like wildfire across the United States of America. So whatever we can make of that, apparently a lot of the people who said that Kanye would lose supporters, for some strange reason, black males have decided to invest a little bit more, shall we say, or be a little bit more encouraged to see what they can identify with this Trump fellow, and maybe something positive can come out of this situation. It's just what it looks like.
Right. Which is very interesting. I think it was said on TMZ, I think, or maybe it was Ebro, I think it was Ebro in the morning. It was before Trump got in office, Trump was a cool symbol for hip hop. I got money like Donald Trump. Like everybody would make a reference, and pretty much you might as well say he was an icon to the hip hop culture. Let's just keep it real. Donald Trump, without a shadow of a doubt, was an icon to the hip hop culture, and something happened at the election and his presidency where folks have turned their back. I don't even want to get into the possibilities of what it is, but it's just interesting to see the phenomenon that has taken place that Kanye West has grabbed. I posted this picture yesterday. We don't understand basic mathematics and science. This is a fact. You right now, those of you who have children, you know right now, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, and on up, they come home with 3rd grade homework. You stumped. You don't remember the laws of operation of how this thing worked. You be stumped. I already know. And so when you look at the basic form of mathematics, yesterday I posted this picture. You take negative 400 and you add a positive 400, you're going to neutralize them out and they're going to cancel each other out and become 0. This is a mathematical fact. If you take a negative and a positive, they will cancel each other out if we're dealing with subtraction and or addition. Okay. So what I'm saying is you take this alleged 400 years, which is also a misnomer. You got to look at that thing on a whole nother level. Remind me to hit that. The 400 year observation is the point I want to remind me to come back to that, Jew.
All right.
The negative 400 years is what you would call injustice and slavery. And then Kanye West comes and say, make America great again. I'm going to take it, twist it, flip it, and give it a whole new meaning, just like we did the word nigga. Okay. Which you can't deny that. We took nigger and put nigga and we rocketed it. It's okay. And we don't allow them to use it anymore. It's offensive when they use it. But anyway, and so if he takes a negative 400 years that you see in the symbol of Make America Great Again hat, and then he says, no, when I wear it, it has a different spin orientation to it now. This is interesting when you get into this thing in quantum physics called entanglement and spin orientations. He's now saying it's going to be a different outcome. Hence, I'm going to put positive 400 years on this experience. Okay. And now negative 400 plus positive 400 equals 0. There's a neutralization that takes place. Okay. Now, it's also interesting because if you're a little adverse in math, then you may say, well, what happens if you take negative 4 and you times positive 4? And, you know, that's still going to be a negative situation. And you're absolutely correct if we look at it from that vantage point. But then I will also say that if you take a negative 4 in this case, which is the 4 is just symbolic for the 400 years of slavery, the negative portion. And if you take you take a symbol such as the Magna hat and you want to say that's negative too, then for some reason, the laws of mathematics say, well, negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16, Jew.
That's right.
When you do negatives and you going into multiplication, these two things actually make a positive. So when you look at the mathematical equation, and then I said, well, shit, if you're dealing with negative and positive, you're dealing with polarities, man. You're dealing with the poles of a battery. This is how electricity, which is you at the core, your spiritual self, I always say, let you go unconscious and the ambulance come through. What they going to do? They're going to hit you with the paddles, put it over your heart, charge, boom, and put juice in you. Why? Because you have a heartbeat in the brain wave. And once that light of yours go out, okay, it's lights out for real. It's over for you. Okay. So you are a light being. When you start understanding the principles of electricity, what we would call positive pole and negative pole, then wait a minute, this negative thing that you call Trump and this positive thing that you call Kanye West is actually the polarity of electricity in order to make manifest, i.e., let's now have a conversation about race coming from Mr. Trump, because Kanye West came in and spent the orientation of the same thing that you was observing all this time as negative. Well, job done. But I really want to say, well, fucking job done, Mr. Kanye West. Now, what was my reference I said I wanted to come back to? Oh, shit.
Slave.
Now watch this, Jew. The facts of the matter is the slaves on record is in 1619, bro. 400 years take you to 2019. Niggas were not slaves for 400 years under European bondage. Nowhere from my little peon, little brief of history of knowing. Nowhere. So, but it's interesting because 400 years will be next year. And you're just now getting to this point of Mr. West, right? That has prompted Donald Trump to say, come on, let's sit down and let's have this discussion, this much needed discussion. See, now you have to wonder that whoever wrote the scripture per se, all the people who read that, because here's the facts. When you got into what we call consciousness, what do they say? Man, our people suffer for 400 years, brother.
That's what they say.
We suffer for 400 years, brother. 400. And that is a lie. You did not suffer nowhere 400 years. You read that or heard that story come from the Bible, and you saw how you could superimpose that story onto the African American experience, and then you dubbed it and you labeled it 400 years of oppression, which now became a future mandate of 2019, where you will start to see this thing unravel based off of previous generations' observations and talking falsehoods, or what we will call alternative facts.
Facts. Damn right. Goddamn right.
All from your observation. Don't matter if it's black or white. Don't matter if it's true or false. You observe it enough, it becomes a reality, man.
That's right.
So anyway, man, I just want to put that on there, man.
But no, man, I think you hitting it dead on. I'm just looking at some of my notes here. You know, it's not enough people with a mindset, a quantum. So you got to look at this. For however many years we've been having this dialogue, right? People become offended. Tip said it in the record. It's just some shit you just don't align with. And it's just some shit you just don't go against, right? What has happened, DeBeer, is people have become so addicted to the pleasure principle of the fight.
Oh, yeah.
That they no longer are looking for any plausible solutions. So, how dare you, Mr. West, go into the lion's den with the enemy, even though you are leading with love, right? How dare you do that? Because for the last 100 years, we have made it our business to say, fuck them. We're staying over here. This is our argument, right? The other side has been saying the same thing about you guys. Fuck them. This is our argument. And so this has been going on for years and years and years and years. That's not resolution. That's just two opposite ends of the spectrum saying what they are for, what they're against, what they're not willing to agree to. But guess what? It's something called policy, which is the only way you're going to get to some type of resolution. So, how do we continue to stay with these same primitive arguments. Like let's just look at this, Devere. Anywhere else where people have a disagreement, it's called negotiating tables. When unions and jobs, when it's time to make new contractual agreements, both of these sides have to come together, even if they wholeheartedly disagree and be deadlocked for over a year. They have to come together and find out what part of my agenda can coexist with that part of their agenda, and we can find some type of medium ground here where nobody's being thoroughly abused, mistreated, or used, so that we can sign off on this thing and agree. See, all niggas want to do is this. Oh, that's white supremacy. Oh, how dare you talk to those people? How dare you go jump into that fray and even try to strike up a conversation with those people? And all you doing is sitting in your little pocket of space with these little parroting followers, right? And getting all of these rah-rahs from these imbeciles. And because these people are leaders or authoritative figures, people are buying into that notion. But they've been buying into that notion for the last 50 years and ain't shit changed, no?
Right.
So at what point do we say something different gotta happen? Right? It has to be a different formula presented that gets people thinking and their mental wheels churning in order to even think about different future scenarios and possibilities. That's the key. And to this point, it wasn't no NOI, it wasn't no RBG, it wasn't no Black Panther Party, it wasn't no conscious community lecturers, it wasn't no NAACP, it wasn't none of these factions, right? Because all of those factions are usually on the other side of the wave, where it's just fight, 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 fight. We don't want to have any interaction. We hate these people. No type of any recourse at all.
Right.
We just gonna be stubborn, gun ho, rusty screws in an old damn tire instead of trying to new ideas, put a new tire on this vehicle that we trying to progress in. Now, some people will go so far with this thing, right? And I've mentioned this before, where they say stuff like, the white man is going to disappear off the face of the earth, or, we get into these type of narratives, right? And see, I have to cover this because this is some of the talking points that these people try to expound on, right? But they haven't disappeared anywhere, Noble. These people are still here. And the people are spreading that type of doctrine, right? Then that means that they're saying that we're going to continue to stay on this side. We can't try to implement any new strategy, right? Because with that mindset, what you're saying is the moment that all of the white people are dead and gone is the moment that we can establish our new form of government, our new way of thinking, etc., etc. And so that would mean everything has to be put on pause except the oppression that you keep saying is happening, which it is, and to some degree, right? These police killings, nobody's being naive to that. But that would mean that you are willing to continue to deal with that and be a victim to that, because your only form of recourse is this fairy tale shit about white people are going to disappear sometime soon. It's just madness. So somebody got to boss up and say, nah, we're going to have to have dialogue with these people. It's going to have to be somebody got to create a new spin on this narrative in order to get these wheels churning in a different direction. And that's exactly what Kanye West has done, man. That's just the truth. Whether you upset with the way that he delivered it or not, this is the result
I
that
don't
we
get
get
it.
from it.
I don't even see how you could be upset when Jay-Z took Rockefeller and became a modern day Rockefeller. You know what I mean? Like, y'all don't see the blueprint here.
Brother, he's the Illuminati, brother.
Yeah.
He, he's
Yeah.
he's 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 with the
Yeah.
satanic ritual guys.
Yeah.
He's draining all of the black people for their
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah. And he married Beyonce once a bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
and she's doing all the mind control programming.
Yeah.
And it's a ritual
Yeah.
every time you watch her perform.
Yeah.
Them niggas, y'all better get far away from them niggas.
Yeah.
I mean that. Get as far away from that rhetoric as you possibly can. Because that goes nowhere. Trust me, family. Nowhere.
Yeah.
They just making money off your attention.
Listen, they don't even, and trust
I'm
me,
telling you.
they don't even got money. That's why they talking like that. Trust me.
That's exactly why.
They don't even have no money for real, for real. And so, this is really great, man. This is a great day in the beautiful USA. And you know, to me, man, it's this is a 230-year anniversary coming up on in 2019 of the 1789 Philadelphia Convention, where the Union soldier was talking about that, and it's you know what I mean. It's a dialogue that happens within government, but this time the people that says, "Man, you know what need to change." You know, it's simple. You have there's no accountability from the justice system to the executive branch, i.e., police officers who kill people, and you know that needs to be an immediate remedy. It's all kind of situations that deal with this injustice thing that could be talked about, but the mere fact that again, somehow, some way, see, y'all got Donald Trump faded. Y'all got Trump messed up for real, seriously. See, Trump, you know, as a businessman, and so we always hear within the evolution of consciousness more when you start studying what we call the Moorish paradigm, the sovereign national paradigm, that they talk about these counties and these cities, and you know, these states are corporations called the state of, and very well so. And since it's all about business, then you have a businessman who's in office, then why can't you, as a body politic of people, work on a business plan? And I'm always throw Flint, Michigan in there. It's a prime example of where we should not be dependent upon any outside force in this day and age, where everybody, all our fans, all of our supporters, if we want to get a news blast out there, we could do it at the hit of a button now called I'm going live, and I'm going to use my platform, and everybody could, you know, centralize, and we're going to go build whatever it is that we want to build, and it can get done. Donald Trump is the type of president that will literally put in an executive mandate that states the people of America, in regards to, if you want to call it reparations or whatever, has agreed upon within themselves to allow Wayne County of the state of Michigan to be their autonomous state within the state. Whether it stays Michigan or whether you do the 1948 Palestine-Israel move, all right, it becomes a newly found beginning that helps in the process. I'm just saying, Trump is the wild card, the duality that would represent such a thing.
The Joker.
Yeah, he's a joker, without a shadow of a doubt.
That all the memes that they see, all the memes that they post, he's the Joker. That's a symbol. But see, man, DeBeer, listen, man. You know, you got some people like he's disrespecting the ancestors, right?
Who, Yay?
Yeah. He's
Mm-hmm.
disrespect, and I always say, well, it depends on which ancestors you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
because let's be clear. He said after 400 years, that sounds like a choice. So let's keep it in context. He's saying after that long of a duration of time, right?
Right.
That sounds like to me that that sounds more like a choice for it to have been a 400-year marathon.
Right.
So now, so if we're interpreting this and he's saying it sounds like a choice, what's happening is this: people are so sensitive and emotional around this content
Mm-hmm.
because the ancestors got their ass whooped.
Woohoo. Uh-oh. Yeah.
That's just the truth.
Mm-hmm.
For that long period of time, the rebellions, right? The uproars, the upheavals, it wasn't enough collectively to overthrow the whole institution of slavery.
Nah.
It wasn't until some white northern boys decided that they were going to come down into them southern territories and declare war,
Well,
right?
brother, the North was losing the war and they needed the slaves so they could win the war,
The
brother.
beer.
You're
That's a
misinforming the
no,
people,
hold
brother.
on. Listen, I'm glad that argument comes up. You know why? I'm glad it happened that way. First of all, we should have joined the fight if it was going to deem or render us the freedom that we're looking for. This is the example that I like to use for that. White police officers are murdering black people, you know, every time it pops up in the news. Freddie Gray, Mike Brown, Philando Castile, the list goes on, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are white cops, right? But if something is going on at your residence, where violence is ensuing, disrespect is escalating to a point where it can become physical, right? People call the police, don't they, know?
So, yeah.
They because the situation is escalating to a point where somebody can be seriously hurt or end up dead here in this situation. So they call the police, right? 9 out of 10 is going to probably be some white cop that comes to your door that's going to de-escalate the situation. You're not going to sit around and say, when the white cop shows up, oh man, no, go your ass back to the police station. The people who look just like you are around here killing the people in my neighborhood through, you know, police brutality. When you yourself are in a situation that deems help from these people who have this authority. So in that moment, when all these black infantries were being formulated, right? And these Northern Union soldiers came down, and you knew that the part of the mission or part of the end result was for you, your children, your wife to have the opportunity to physically get off a plantation, you should have willingly joined that fight. Even though it was some more white people who looked just like the white people who were down there in the South who were telling you, no, nigga, we're going to hang your ass if you even think about breaking up off this plantation. Meanwhile, you got some more white folks who look similar to the people or just like the people who telling you this other narrative that, listen, you join me and we can outnumber these people, you're
Yeah.
free.
And
You should have joined. We should have joined that fight.
yeah, and I've never heard of, and I'm not a historian, but I've never heard of the mandate that came from the Northern Army that says all niggers must serve in the Union Army right now, whether we getting our ass whooped by the Confederates or for whatever reason. They had what's called volunteer infantries, man. You can volunteer. It wasn't mandatory for your slave ass to get up in this army. In fact, some people in the Union Army doubted that, they could fight effectively because they wasn't soldiers, and they would actually hurt the cause. But some of our ancestors, and we never talk about Harriet Tubman, the spy who worked for and with the Union Army, coming back down with a general from up north, helping beat the Confederates' ass because she knew the landmass.
That's right.
They used to call her Harriet the Spy Tubman. Big shout out to Harriet Tubman.
And to the beer, like, see, we run to all these safe ass arguments, right? To try to put mental blocks and hurdles up in people's mind as a deterrent to get them to turn around.
Right.
All these arguments. Oh, you still going by how could you be saying that you're for free thought and you still got a slave master's name? All that weak ass shit. Listen, man. Listen, DeVere.
All right.
Do Harriet Tubman sound like an indigenous black name to you?
Right.
Huh? Like, listen, we have to deal with the function of a person or a thing. We keep getting caught up in all of these sidebar commentaries that are not saying that they're not necessary to have, but they're not the most pertinent to have. They're not the most, they're not the biggest priority to have.
Right.
Let me tell you something. It's some niggas out here named John that will push a white boy's wig back. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? Like, we gotta stop that. I'm trying to put these little mental hurdles up when there's a bigger commentary at play, right? To get the little soldiers to hear that message and then make it seem like that's bigger than the overall situation at hand.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
Yeah. See, that kind of dialogue exists only within what we consider to be the conscious community. And that's the only place it exists. When you take it outside of there, that whole northern feel good type of thing don't really be there in that sense. Man, it's a beautiful day, man. Like, listen, man.
Make America great again. We're gonna make America great again.
You see, right. Gemini, Kanye West to Gemini, Donald Trump. This thing becomes like it's a cosmic play. You know what I mean? For real, this thing is a cosmic play that's taking place, and your observation coupled with how you're feeling about what you're watching is producing a future phenomenon. I'm telling you, if you missed earlier part of this, you go back to the beginning of this live where we talked about, math, and we talked about, that whole 400 years slavery thing that's false. We was not slaves for 400 years on the record book. But since that rhetoric became the mainstream, it's like it became a stigma, it became a fact. And that observation projected into a future reality called us right now, where we will be living under injustices. Without a shadow of a doubt, there's injustices. But see, again, the dialogue is going to have to be Mr. Donald Trump in the United States of America. Are you the United States of America, or are you the Confederate States of America, or any other entity, nation outside of the United States of America?
That's the conversation.
And the United States of America is not going to say that. I can bet my last dollar on that.
That's right.
So here's the problem, Mr. Trump, of what we're having here. The black experience is definitely rooted. The black and white issue is rooted in slavery. This is a fact, which later after slavery, the retaliation has became Jim Crow. The southern states were salty that niggas were free. So they played hardball by still adjusting their laws and codes and ordinances, voting and drink over here. You're not allowed in our school. We call it segregation now. Jim Crow is a retaliation on Lincoln. So the battle record states that the United States of America was in war with the Confederate States of America, and you still have Confederate member states inside the United States government, and that's a no-no. Mississippi has the Confederate flag. No form of government, meaning its county, its city, its state, should ever have the Confederate flag at the place of government. What you can have, since America is very America
Some
is
museums. Some
right.
museums.
America is
Right.
Kuan Yin. The Statue of Liberty is Kuan Yin. America's Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion. I'm telling you. And they can have a museum. They can have a memorial. That's fine. Because they got loved ones and great grandpas and stuff that died. No problem. You can have a memorial, but not at the place where government is adjudicated upon. And ran, shall a Confederate battle flag be a part of the state? Because that shows infiltration. So the question is, Mr. Trump, are there any Confederate members inside of the United States government, any states? And it looked like there is. Now, as the problem progresses, the judicial system, with the unfair sentencing, the targeting of blacks, and the longer sentencing, things of that nature, those things reflect the ideology of Jim Crow, civil rights / slavery, Confederate ideologies and behaviors.
That's right.
That's where our problem lies.
That's right.
See, you can say what you want to say about Martin Luther King, and I was watching an interview with Tip, and boy, I love that guy is freaking superb. And that's interesting that Tip will speak for the people, and he got that position because he's a Libra, which is the scales. I'm going to balance these scales. He's coming through like the God now. And he's the one that's dealing with this justice thing. Perfect. No problem. And so what I'm seeing is, I had a point. I was going somewhere with that, man.
Basically, if I could maybe refresh your memory,
mm-hmm.
we have Confederates masquerading as Union boys and girls.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. All day. I was going somewhere with Tip, and I pulled him in there for a reason. No. It'll come to me. It'll come to me.
But look, here's the deal, DeBeer. The commentary needs to shift. It needs to shift. All we have to do is look at the end result of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look at what we've been doing prior to. Has any of that rendered anything different? To me, it's just a bunch of emotional stances that people are stuck to tradition, almost to a detriment, simply because their teacher told them, then their master teacher told them. And that's just been the same commentary. Like, listen, the whole memory thing, right? Like, it's good to lose some things inside of this noggin, because we need space to be able to update for pertinent things that are happening in the now.
Mm-hmm.
But people are so concerned with the past. Like, listen, man, I had one young lady. And we not free. Everybody, that's the black conscious talk. We ain't free. What you mean we free?
Yeah.
And I said, look.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Go ahead.
That's what it was.
Go ahead.
Tip has said, good looking Elijah. Tip was like, I'm more Malcolm X than I am, than I am Martin. And so was I. Yeah, I think you got two cloth of people. You're gonna either go that particular route or you're gonna go the other way. So anyway, I was, and I could never understand the king thing, and I had talked about that until I understood the overall the psychology that it takes to run that king doctrine. And I'll say this. I'll say it again. The way I'm gonna tell you something where King got Malcolm totally faded on this thing. I mean, totally faded on the effective aspect when you're dealing with, here we go, the art of war. Okay, so you got to remember. Here go the facts. The United States government at the time after slavery did not make a mandate and say, listen, y'all niggas better shut up or we will make this your reality and you will be a slave again. So shut y'all asses up about getting water hose and shut y'all asses up by getting sprayed by the water hose and getting bit by the German Shepherd dogs. You got to remember, this is Jim Crow states that's doing this at large. Okay. You still had opposition to that, hence JFK. Robert Kennedy, his little brother, JFK's brother. So what happened was, again, JFK, the first time that the government was federalized against its member states, Alabama was doing JFK, and I told y'all was called the George Wallace standoff. The governor of Alabama was acting like he wasn't going to let niggas in, and it was the last school to desegregate. So I'm telling you, there's a force that says, nope, y'all niggas coming into them schools. You got the game fucked up. They coming because we said they coming. And there was another force where George Wallace and them said, shit, no, we ain't. And then he got his local and state cops that's all there, shotgunned up, ready to bust a move. So then JFK said, okay, Bobby, you the attorney general. You have to give the order to the National Guard. And see, the feds was actually created to trump the states. You can have your own state autonomy, but as long as it plays within certain bounds, called slavery is not one of the things. That's out of bounds. You understand what I'm saying? So now JFK tells his brother Bobby, call the National Guard and get the National Guard to roll down there and get a governor to order. So the governor think he run the state, which he do. But I'm telling you, you go look at this shit, General Henry Graham, salute to Henry Graham. God damn, man, he did. See, that's what I'm saying. We ain't studying war because you don't even know no generals in this thing. Shout out to General William Tecumseh Sherman. My general. All right. Shout out to motherfucking General Ulysses Grant on the $50 bill, who later become president. Very important war generals in this thing. All right. So anyway, Martin Luther King, man, through his approach, which is the modern day Kanye approach, made generals and people of government come and have conversation about how they're going to change the paradigm, because you have to look at this thing as evolution, y'all. Slavery, you get out of slavery, civil rights, you start progressing more, Motown, you jamming, you grooving. The 60s and 70s is still civil rights issues and shit, but you moving and you grooving, you Cadillacing now. You know what I mean? 70s come, you like, yo, fuck the Black Power struggle. Let's disco. Let's party. I'm tired of that shit. Let's party around here. 80s come, and you still got to remember, you got remnants. You got two sides of the American soil. Either you Confederate and you're going to play these little games and you're going to say, you know what? I'm about to make a deal with the dope boys all the way, on the southern coast of Peru and ship this dope up through these ports, and I'm about to flood the streets and fuck these African Americans up. That's Confederate ideology. You dig what I'm saying? And you just got these two forces. So anyway, this duality of these two forces that we're dealing with on the landmass at the core is Gemini. because you're dealing with the duality of the mind. You don't understand who you're dealing with until a person gives you the proposal or they take their stance. You dig? So anyway, I just wanted to say that that king thing was a beast, because if y'all go study General Henry Graham, you're gonna see that he took racist Alabama, like 17 highway patrol cars from them, took their helicopters and shit, and he literally used their own police vehicles as what we call convoys. All right. And escorted the freedom fighters up out of there. So we can't act like it's a grand conspiracy for one thing. This is chess. And if you keep it simple, ladies and gentlemen, you can never miss it. You can never, ever miss it. And it's simple. The two players on the board, Union and Confederate, because we post Lincoln.
Hey, look, De Beer.
Right?
Look. Meanwhile, priesthood is still on their business, right? I know you've been posting a lot. Hey, baby. Love you. We've been posting a lot, but look, De Beer, you know what time it is. I got to roll. Got to go close this $90,000 deal, De Beer. Let's close.
Yeah.
Love you, baby.
That's what it is, okay. Man. So yeah, man, good day in America. You know what I mean? This guy always pulls me in this conversation. I'm literally putting deals together all day. Yeah.
Listen, we can't abandon this ship completely, right? We have to be able to chime in when necessary. You know what I mean? We building some other stuff, but at the same time, listen, we still got our thumb on the pulse of what's going on. But anyways, the beer man, it was good building with you, man. I hit you back, man, when I get from over there checking out.
Yeah. Let me know what's happening.
All right, bro. All right,
yes,
peace.
sir. All right. And so, yeah. Anybody, I'm here. I just want to give y'all that, man. Don't fall for the hype. And closing off, if you got a question, you can type it to me because I see it and whatnot. Get focused on building your great America for yourself and for your family. There's no reason to suffer, because I'm telling you, man, that pill, the suffer pill that we disguise under consciousness and black or right, you know what I mean, ain't cool. All right. So, let's say I just got a text from my realtor that people trying to come in and put offers in on what we doing. All right. So listen, man, I gotta go. I gotta lock this deal down because I knew that was gonna happen. We got a webinar tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern about this property that I showed y'all that I want to purchase and gift to women. You gotta, it's time to stop talking and put your money up. All right. Come to this webinar tomorrow. I've been posting on Facebook and on the email list and whatnot, but, I got a jet because I just saw the text. My realtor literally just texted me like, yo, just for your information, that property been on the market for a year, but I'm telling you, revitalization is coming in that area. And now people want to, they want to jump on it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close this deal, man. I'll holla at y'all. Get to that webinar tomorrow. Peace.